So this is the video quality now. I think better. INFJ relationship compatibility. Why INFJ? Because obviously we need views. I hope they'll earn me some. So INFJs are relationship compatibility. INFJs are pretty misunderstood, and honestly, most of the types are pretty misunderstood. People mostly don't understand the functions, and since they don't understand them, they can understand the type themselves, which is um, sad. INFJs, they have intuition as their hero function, as their first function. It's all about what they want. It's all about what they desire. It's all about their dreams, their visions, and their interpretation of what they would want to have in their life. And since intuition is on the axis with extra sensing, it's all about having what looks good or wanting to have what looks good, right? What's fresh, what's new, what's needed by SI users. So secondly, INFJs have extra feelings, so they're all about making other people feel at home, at ease, feel comfortable. They prefer what other people value, and they base their FI critic values on what other people value. And as they get older, they have more of an awareness of their actual introverted or inner values within their FI critic. They have introverted thinking child. The child function is the one we consider the most precious, I would say, within the ego. If someone stomps on the child function, we kind of tend to jump to the straight to the demon, to the superego, because we just can't stand someone else burning our ego investments. So for INFJ, it's all about what they want with their hero function, but it's also about what they think, what logically makes sense. Basically, what's the only logical option left. But if, especially like an INFJ meets their conflict type, which is an ISTP, TI hero, the ISTP will very likely humble this INFJ, and accordingly, the INFJ will really hate the ISTP with FI critics. Their fourth inferior function or infant function is called extrovert sensing, which is responsible instead for giving other people a good experience, making them feel comfortable, but within the physical realm kind of terms. It's really good bodily sensations, good vibes. I would say that FI would be more so associated with the term mood, whereas SI would be more so associated with the term vibes, though I might be wrong, and some people might be using those two interchangeably. So, but I would say majority of times that's the case. Every type, including INFJs, has their temperament and their interaction styles. So what are temperaments? You kind of saw temperaments already. If you have ever taken the 16 personality test, intellectuals, idealists, guardians, and arsons. If you want to know more about these, I'll either link it in the video or I'll post it down in the description, so you can check it out. The expression styles, the three expression styles, each personality type has only three expression styles. There's 12 of them. And the ones that INFJ has inhibited are direct, progression, responding, which means that they're all about being a man or a woman of their word, meaning what they say, preferring direct expressions and few words over more vague and general kind of deliveries. They are all about focusing more so on the little things when it comes to something they want to do actually, or they just pick a particular component of the idea they're investigating or working on, and they just put so much energy into that one single component, and they just are drained completely after finishing that one, and they don't have the energy for the rest. And lastly, they're responding. So they're introverts. They prefer other people to come to them to convey information or to give information over them coming to other people to give them information or extract information from them. How do INFJs, how do they behave typically in relationships? What are their preferences in relationships? INFJs, since they're the idealists, they kind of really put emphasis on getting along with the people they're in a relationship with. They want to seek for understanding, a deeper understanding on the emotional level, and they might have these kind of soulmate ish preferences, even because they're idealists. So as I mentioned, it's all about them making you feel good and making you feel at home, but also making you experience something that makes you need to remember INFJs as people that are funny, interesting, dressing good, smelling good, having places to go, etc. They just want to be seen as people that kind of have charlatanian essence to them, but it's not overwhelming because their extrovert sensing is inferior. So it's kind of gentle, and this is especially something what ENFPs and ENTPs love. However, an INFJ that is not very developed, an INFJ that is stuck within the ego focus, and in this case, this kind of INFJ would be all about what they want and all about their personal justice compass, which would mean that they would prioritize that over giving other people a good experience. Also, not being responsible with other people, how other people feel. So that kind of goes against the stereotype. But they really have this tendency, these ego-focused INFJs, to have sudden outbursts of anger and rage. Of course, it usually doesn't last that long. They don't even know really where it came from, since they don't even know what their actual feelings are most of the time, especially when they're younger, because they don't have introvert feeling in their ego. So they end up just scaring people away. Now let's look at comparison. Since male INFJs or males in general, will try to lead towards the masculine energy overall, but also within relationships, they'll really try to grasp the essence of the side of the mind within there are four sides of the minds that is the most masculine, which in the case of an INFJ is an ESTP. So males will really want to get the mastery, really just get a hang of the ESTP subconscious. INFJs that are female, they more so are kind of either willingly go there or are kind of pushed by society, aim more so towards the unconscious focus, ENFP unconscious focus, because ENFPs are one of the most feminine types, and they are also FI users. So what ends up happening with these INFJs is that they happen to have a greater understanding of what their morals actually are and what morals actually can be applied to the society in general. Whereas the ESTP subconscious focused male INFJs, they'll be more so about what makes sense and how things work. They'll really be out there. They'll really be talking to people. They'll really be getting things done. And the overall point is that the female INFJs should learn, because they're NI heroes. Even though they're affiliated, they should really learn how to humble themselves with their ENFP unconscious and be more beautiful, be more feminine, be more sincere with their feelings. And they should learn how to put tribe above self. Whereas the INFJ subconscious focused males, they should learn how to put self above tribe. Also, I'm not an ISTP. Shocking. Yeah, I'm not an ISTP, but I am really subconscious focused and developed, I claim, at least. So that's why I mistake myself as an ISTP. I apologize for deceiving you people. It was not on purpose. The pretty much most important part, you should have just skipped here, honestly, but thanks for watching through. First, the golden pair, which is the pair that you have the most or the highest relationship compatibility with. First, the golden pair. That's a type with which you have the highest relationship compatibility with. Relationship compatibility also consists out of two separate components: sexuality and romance. We have golden pair, the ENFP. ENFPs, they basically are the same temperament. They just have different expression styles, but mostly they have different kind of functions. So basically, what each type is looking for in a relationship is a type that has same kind of functions with the opposite polarity, which means an NI hero, intuition hero, is looking for extra intuition hero, right? And extroverted feeling parent is looking for introverted feeling parent. That's just how it goes. That's the highest emotional compatibility. And ENFPs really are just this messy, idealistic, chaotic people that are really potentially dangerous to the environment oftentimes, as I noticed, because they just are so not aware of their surroundings. Secondly, we have INFP. INFPs, they're a little bit different. They're a silver pair, which is the second highest emotional and sexual compatibility. INFPs are as well introverts, and they're outcome focused, which means that they're not going to be initiating with the INFJ, which might cause potential problems. Even though the INFJ is an IS user, so they kind of initiate by themselves sometimes, but they're still responding, right? And they're outcome focused, which means that which basically would mean that it makes them even more responding, because they're not going to bother having a conversation if they know that there's no way they're going to get the result they wish for from the conversation, especially if we are dealing with an ego-focused INFJ, because the ego-focused INFJ with TI child God complex is not going to let any outer external opinions slide whatsoever. These types might be clashing more often than the actual golden pair. The bronze pair, ESTJ. ESTJs, they're kind of closer to the superego of an INFJ, which is the ISTJ. So this relationship is going to have a really weird dynamics, because they also have the same functions as an ENFP, and they have the same optimistic and pessimistic functions as an ENFP. So it really is, that's why it's called a natural, because outside of the golden pair, this pair kind of feels less burdened with expectations. The INFJ feels less burdened with expectations. It might be a win sometimes. That's why it's called a natural, because it's easier to actually get along and be yourself. Then you have the fourth most compatible type with the INFJs, which is the ISTJ, which is also called the superego or the demon pair. So it's going to be really tough for these two types to get along unless both of these types have both unconscious and subconscious development. And if that's not the case, that they're really just going to struggle, and they're really going to hate each other and try to avoid each other's presence. So even though it's the fourth most compatible type, I think that an INFJ would naturally get more so along with like an ESFJ or even an INTP. Be humble, stay appreciative, and let people criticize your personal belief systems. See you.